Well, very exciting. Dr. Jerome Corsi is going to be working with us, putting out these super viral YouTube news presentations as this news and information breaks. If you just joined us, last hour, they believe they know who the forger is. The document itself is a manifest unprofessional fraud at every level. They're just basically knowing if they release it, once the mainstream dinosaur media commits to it, they will then have a stake in not being discredited and will then always defend the lie. Also, he's breaking here that early next week at worldnetdaily.com, WMD.com, they will be releasing documents from the Kenyan government that there's been criminal tampering in the birth records of the hospital where the evidence shows Barack Obama was born. Dr. Corsi would not be going this far if he didn't have that information. Also, it's now been confirmed what's in the book, written months and months and months ago, by major newspapers in the U.S., that the State Department was asked by Harvard to take the visa, the education visa, away from Barack Obama Sr. because he had all these other women pregnant and fake marriages. You can just look at Obama, folks. It's not his dad, but clearly the fact is they were probably not married. So you've got the bastard news coming out. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing. The point is, life's a good thing, period. It's just that they've got something to cover up here, and that this is a composite. Dr. Corsi, is this the beginning of Barry Soetoro, a.k.a. Barack Obama's Waterloo? Because the info you've got in here with Indonesia and getting the dual citizenship, federal law, he wouldn't be eligible on that. I think that's the smoking gun. Is this the beginning? And are they fleeing forward? And now that's why they're running on the birth certificate being real, this whole Made in America, this fundraising. After 3 years of ignoring this, is this their Waterloo?
Yes, this is the beginning of the end. The Obama administration knows if the American people read what's in this book, where's the birth certificate, and understands it, studies the exhibit, the Obama administration cannot survive. And the other thing, if people got to understand, I wanted the title to be Where's the Birth Certificate. Joseph Farron said, well, they could release the birth certificate. I said, if they do, it'll be fake, but that's what we want them to do, because then Obama will be committed, Obama will have to own that document, and the minute we can prove that that document is fraudulent, the Obama administration crashes.
Why would they bet everything on such a fraud? The CIA, the State Department, they're masters at putting out near-perfect forgeries.
It was the only thing they could think to do. They had to forge it within the group. They couldn't go outside the group. They picked the best. He wasn't that good. They were stuck with it. And they used the strategy. They decided they'd go with this strategy to try to preempt the book. Remember, they can't stand the publication of this book. Once the American people read Where's the Birth Certificate, they've got enough information to know that Barack Obama is not eligible to be president. He's not even who he says he is. That's why all these documents are being hidden. And the administration can't stand that anybody will read it, so they say, let's rush together, let's put the birth certificate out. The only thing they had left to save themselves, that we can count on the mainstream media, they'll say the story's dead. All the while I'm saying, okay, look, I'm going to take a hit. For a while it's going to look like I'm not credible, but when we prove the birth certificate's a fraud, when we prove there's no patient records for Ann Dunham at Capulani, then the administration crashes, and they crash criminally. I suffer a little bit of a hit for a while where they make fun of me. In the end, the vindication with the truth is what I'm after. The truth is Barack Obama was not born in Hawaii. The proof is he's born in Kenya. The proof is he may not be who he says he is, may not even know or want to reveal his true birth circumstances, and he was a dual citizen, which independently disqualifies him at birth from his father, if that was his father, in Kenya, and in Indonesia from his stepfather when he became Barry Soetoro Soebaka.
And you also dropped the bombshell that Donald Trump has contacted you. He got an advance copy of the book.
Donald Trump called me, pumped me for information, got us to send him an advance copy of the book. I had no assurance that that wasn't going right to the White House. Mike Cohen calling me, talking to me. They're talking to Charlie Schumer. Look, the whole deal was a setup because with Trump, immediately Obama says, look, you come and make the issue very big, get it on, then I'll release the birth certificate, you'll be a hero, you got the birth, and then just drop the issue.
Then the bin Laden, this whole thing, you can You can see the scripting.
And if Trump were truly in this, and I told Trump, he called me up, I said, Trump, you get back into this and say that you want verification of these documents. You want to see the original best evidence, the original paper document, not this electronic nonsense, subjected to forensic testing, get it out of the vault. If you're going to show the birth certificate, show the original, get it forensically tested, and go to Kapiolani Hospital and say, show me Ann Dunham's patient record. Trump wouldn't do either one.
And then we've got NBC that we know got massive bailout money.
From GE, with GE, virtually having an office in the White House. And Trump breathing heavily about casinos going to be built in Chicago and maybe some tall building. I'm just waiting for Trump to show up with competing for those contracts. I'll be there investigating it.
Well,
I don't like being played for a chump either. I gave Trump information, trusting him, expecting him to stay in this battle, and not to have me walk out on the plank while he sits in the boat, because I got my $60 million from GE. I don't care about Obama's birth records anymore.
Well, in closing, you see I want to go back to this Esquire for folks that haven't read it. It was written clearly, as a news piece to try to say that you guys had disavowed your own book.
Right, which we did not.
And I'm not a litigious person, but I think Farah has an absolute...
Farah's going to... Today's WND top Skyline headline, Farah says, help me to own Esquire. He's suing Esquire.
Well, you have to, because
we will.
This is a new level. I mean, just a month ago, we got the internal George Soros Media Matters documents where they said we're going to destroy alternative conservative media. And
correct.
You go there, I'm attacked almost every day. I'm seen as conservative, even though I'm just a constitutionalist and nonpartisan.
I'm attacked every day.
And so we know we're on the list, and they say we're going to infiltrate, we're going to destroy, we're going to use
after the sponsors.
We're going to use spies. They said
they're targeting now companies like Orbit. They're saying if you advertise with Fox, we're going to run a national campaign. This is blackmail. This should be criminal. What Media Matters is doing, targeting out companies that fund Fox and saying we'll destroy your business if you do that. That's a clear form.
It's racketeering.
It's racketeering.
Yeah, but worse than that, in those memos that Politico got...
It's extortion, too. It's also a form of extortion.
Well, yes, but in there they say we'll infiltrate into their companies with spies. Now that's espionage.
Well, that's espionage. They're doing espionage, extortion. This is, these are thug tactics capable of Chicago. And if that's what Soros wants to do, funding Media Matters, so be it. But I think it's criminal. I think it's a RICO violation.
Well, there's infiltrating and getting your people hired into companies to, quote, destroy them. It's
absolutely beyond the pale. What they tried to do, with getting us with this magazine, going out and saying the book had been pulled from the shelves, when that's completely untrue. You've got Esquire out there on the limb trying to destroy our market. We spent the whole day, people wanting, we shouldn't go buy the book, it's gone. All that misinformation, classic misinformation techniques from intelligence agencies. And if that's what Esquire wants to do, then let them explain in court how they had an intention to destroy the book and what damages that causes.
Well, it's bottom line, it's meant to cause people to run back to the store saying, I want my money back. Then all the big booksellers, Barnes & Nobles, panics and pulls it off shelves.
And have you ever seen an attempt by the administration, by someone in the White House, to destroy a book? In the history of book publishing, I don't remember any president going after a book like this.
Nixon actually went after some authors and people, and you saw what happened to him. This shows that they are running scared.
They're on their last leg. They're gasping. They're desperate. They're using fraudulent methods. They're using strong-arm tactics. And I'm an author. They want to vilify me. If that's what they have to do to stay in the White House, so be it. I'll tolerate that for a while. The final analysis, if that document's fraudulent, then we're vindicated, and the White House is going to have to explain to criminal court why a criminal document was brought out, and Obama will have to explain to the American people why he resorted to crime to stay in office.
All right, we've only got about a minute and a half left, and we're coming back for the rest of the hour on economic news. Bob Chapman, formerly with intelligence, U.S. government, syndicated.
I know Bob well, and I highly admire Bob.
Let's bring Bob up just for a quick question, final question for Dr. Jerome Corsi. Listening to this, Bob, do you have any questions or comments for Dr. Corsi?
Well, I love his work, and I am absolutely thrilled that he's done it, and I think there's a good chance he can take him down with it. And so everybody who's listening should be proud of Jerome Corsi.
Well, I want to endorse Bob's newsletter. I've been reading it for years. It's the best, most insightful newsletter in the business. I rely on it.
Well, there's no doubt, Dr. Corsi, you hit the barbed wire with this, and you're always a very careful person, and I've read the book. There's definitely a cover-up going on here, and that itself in law is a crime, covering up a crime. They're desperate. Something's going on, and they put out this shoddy fake. There's no doubt about that. And so are they trying to cover up? He's a bastard. Now, that's what Wayne Madsen has said. And
I don't think it's necessarily that they care that he's a bastard. What they're covering up is that the mother, desperate to find Obama to induce him to be the father, took on her own a trip to Africa to try to convince the family she should be the princess. That's the story.
Yeah, because he was in line to get into politics.
And Barack Obama Sr. couldn't care less, and the family couldn't care less. They took this crazy girl over to Mombasa Hospital and let her have her baby. They sent her home. That's her missing 6 months, and she goes to Seattle.
All right, Dr. Corsi, thank you so much. Let me see Bob Teeter on the break. We're coming back with Bob Chapman on a host of issues straight ahead. Stay with us. Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.